Have you ever stopped to wonder, who are you, really? Not the name, not the job, not the personality you've carefully shaped over the years, but the one beneath all that. There's a quiet suspicion buried in the back of your mind, a sense that something about your life, your choices, your identity, doesn't quite feel real, that the person you present to the world might not be you at all. Carl Jung believed that most people never meet their true self, because the person they think they are is merely a strategy, a mask, a defense, a shape formed not by truth, but by fear. In this video, we're going to uncover that mask. We'll look at who you've become and why. We'll explore what Jung called the persona, how it forms, and what it costs to keep wearing it. Because the life you want can never belong to someone you're pretending to be. Let's begin. There is a reason you've become who you are. Every habit, belief, and emotional pattern, every way you behave in relationships or silence yourself in public, was designed to protect something vulnerable within you. The person you think you are is not the person you were born to be. You became this version of yourself to survive, to be accepted, to be safe, to be loved in a world that often withholds love unless you play by its rules. As a child, you learned quickly, being too loud, too sensitive, too angry, too honest, made people uncomfortable, and discomfort meant disconnection. So you adapted, you buried parts of yourself. You wore a new face to keep peace, to get approval, to stay close. That face became your personality. But Jung called it the persona, a mask we wear not just to interact with others, but to hide who we truly are. Over time, the mask hardens, and you forget there was ever a face beneath it. You don't just wear the persona, you become it. And slowly, something inside you starts to die. The false self isn't born, it's built. It begins the moment you decide that your authenticity is too dangerous for the world, and so you craft a version of yourself the world will tolerate. You become the responsible one, the nice one, the tough one, the helper, the achiever, the one who never complains. Each role is a compromise, each strength a response to something that once hurt. What you call your personality may actually be a biography of your wounds. But Jung warned, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Because to do that, you must first admit that who you've become might not be real. Everything you've buried didn't disappear. It became your shadow. The anger you were punished for, the needs you were told were selfish, the dreams that were called unrealistic, the softness you were told to toughen up, the tears you learned to swallow. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The shadow runs the show. It chooses your partners. It sabotages your progress. It triggers your rage. It shapes your addictions. And yet, you think it's just who you are. No, it's who you had to become. But you don't have to stay there. You've lived so long inside this role that freedom feels dangerous. The thought of setting boundaries terrifies you because the helper needs to be needed. The idea of being vulnerable embarrasses you because the strong one never cracks. The possibility of disappointing others? Unbearable, because your whole identity is built around being good, agreeable, successful. You've mistaken survival for truth. But the truth has been knocking from the inside, asking you to listen. And you've called that knocking anxiety. You've called it burnout. You've called it emptiness. You've called it depression. But what if it's your real self trying to come home? The mask is heavy. Wearing it every day is exhausting. To keep it in place, you have to manage everything. Your tone, your appearance, your responses, your thoughts. You keep peace at your own expense. You maintain relationships that drain you. You chase goals that don't fulfill you. And in quiet moments, you feel it. The ache, the whisper that you're not where you're meant to be, that you're not who you're meant to be. But the longer you wear the mask, the more it begins to replace you. Until one day, you wake up surrounded by things that don't feel like yours. Habits, commitments, a life that doesn't fit. And you ask, how did I get here? Jung's answer would be simple. You abandoned yourself, but you can return. Jung called the journey of returning to the self individuation, a process of integrating the parts you've hidden, reclaiming what you've denied, and becoming whole again. It's not about destroying the persona. It has its place. But you must stop mistaking it for you. You are not your survival strategies. You are not the character you play in your family. You are not the approval you chase. You are not the trauma that shaped you. You are something deeper, wiser, older than your pain. And the process of individuation is how you find your way back. To become yourself, you must risk losing who you've been. You must risk being misunderstood, risk letting go of control, risk being seen as too much or not enough, risk disappointing the people who benefited from your silence. Because authenticity has a cost, but so does self-abandonment. One gives you your soul back, the other keeps you empty forever. And at some point, you must choose. So I ask you now, who are you without the mask? Who would you be if you stopped performing, stopped pleasing, stopped protecting everyone from the truth of you? What would it look like to say no without guilt? To cry without apology? To take up space without fear? What would happen if you stopped surviving and started living? This isn't a question for your mind. It's a question for your soul. And it's one only you can answer. If something in this video resonated, if a part of you stirred that's been silent for too long, I invite you to leave a comment. Tell us, what part of the mask are you ready to let go of? What part of your true self are you ready to reclaim? And if you're walking this path of awareness, subscribe. We're going deeper, and you don't have to do it alone. Until next time, keep shining, not to be seen, but to see.